Welcome to Fly Nubian Money. We are here to help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I'm your host, Jade Harrell, aka Lioness Crowns. I'm an educator. I am the founder and CEO of highblackesteem.com. And I'm your host for today. And I saw some folks in the comments already. Y'all seem to be, kind of wound up around this topic. So today we're talking about what maybe shifting dynamics in the dating scene between Black men and Black women. In a moment, you'll hear from a woman who says that dating Black men is just exhausting and she's just open to dating other races. So we are going to have this conversation and we're going to relate it back to finances, but also, whether Black women and Black men, are in danger in terms of these relationships. But before we get into that topic, I definitely want to introduce the queens on the panel. We are here with Dr. Lene Javette. She's a monetization strategist and business coach.
Hey.
Welcome. We're also here with Miss Laura Lala Key. She's an international real estate agent. Welcome. And we are here with our queen, Athena Gardner. She's a CPA and women's wellness coach. So, ladies, we have this topic today. And a lot of Black women in the dating pool are saying that dating Black men is exhausting. They want 100% from you or from us, and they're not willing to give the same thing. They want the benefits of being married and all of these extra benefits without actually being serious. And so there's a viral video that sparked this conversation. We've seen the video. We're going to show the video. But in the meantime, while we're queuing up the video, we do want to invite the audience to make sure you subscribe to our channel and know that we're here weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at Fly Nubian Queen TV's YouTube channel. Be sure to text the word Queens to the number 87948 so that way you will be notified when we do go live. All right, who wants to start? Let's just do a first round of feedback and then we'll get into the video and we'll debrief that. I'm going to start with Miss Athena because you're smiling real hard right now and rolling your eyes, by the way. So what did you think about this topic? Oh, you're muted.
I was like, I just want to be able to just share my perspective and still be loved. Okay. I just want to preface by saying that I do think that, and we're going to go more into the video, I do think that the dating climate is very contentious, especially as someone who is currently in that climate. The one thing I do know, and I want us to explore this further, is that there is this fallacy that the issues that people are experiencing are exclusive to Black men, which I don't think is true. I think that applies to all men. Like, I don't think race is a delineating factor in what this woman is going to be saying. I think that a lot of Black women, we tend to be late bloomers when it comes to dating. And there's certain things that are just par for the course. But because we mostly date Black men, we think it's just exclusive to them, and it's not. It's across the board.
Got you. Thank you so much for that perspective. And you are loved. You are always loved. Dr. Lene, what's your take on this topic? Are Black women giving up on Black men?
I don't think so. I think it depends on which Black women you're talking to. Are there issues in dating? Yes. Are there issues between Black men and Black women? Yes. But I think that as long as we're pointing fingers at who did it and why and what, we're never going to solve the problem. And I do think that it can be solved. So I think that some women may have given up on the Black man, but I think that it goes both ways. But I also think that there's solutions. And so hopefully we'll get to some of those today.
Thank you so much for that. And Lala?
Well, I think I'm the weird one of the bunch today, but I also have a good take on it as well, meaning that I have been married for almost 31 years, and I've been with my husband longer than us being married as well. We met in high school. So most of my friends kind of look to us as, how did y'all do that when it was a different situation? We had so many things in common from the very get-go. However, I do have a lot of great friends, just beautiful Black women who are single and are looking for partners. And so we do discuss their frustration with dating Black men, and some of them feel like they're not emotionally available to them, but they're not shutting them out. They're just trying to figure out how to get the communication going so that they can glow up together instead of being nitnacky toward one another. Because I'm in my 50s, so most of my friends are of this age, 40s and 50s as well, and many have been in relationships before. So where is the disconnect in here? When do you want to play? When do you want to get serious? You have to get to the common foundation before you can move on.
Thank you for that. Thank you for your take on that. So I have a really close friend of mine, and she will remain anonymous. And she wrote me. I sent her this video that we're about to watch shortly, and she wrote me back in response to that. So I'm going to read her response with her permission. She said, "From 2017 to 2020, I really tried with Black men. It's just exhausting. My casual white partners treat me better. When I got my surgery, I had 3 of them, one who I only had one date with, and it wasn't a match, offering to grocery shop for me or come over and entertain me. Last time I had COVID, one sent me a care package. Another one I've been messing with on and off for a year, who currently has a girlfriend, comes over and takes care of me when I'm sick. When I was on spring break, he took me to the Hudson Valley for a few days. Another ex of mine, who should have married, but also just out of a relationship, would pick me up and drop me off everywhere I went, even if he wasn't going. It wasn't in a controlling way. He just didn't want me getting on the train or into a car if I had been drinking. It's sad, but casual white partners have treated me better than any Black man I've been in a relationship with." That made me really sad when I got that, because it's just like, wow, that's never been my experience. I only date Black men. I've only dated Black men. But if we have Black women out here saying that Black men are not treating them well, it is very, very, very concerning to me. And so, yes, to what Dr. Lene said, like, we definitely want to get to the solution within this conversation. Like, what's the solution to mending this void and this contention if we have Black women out here who are experiencing this?
So I think and I wrote, you see my pen, I'm writing notes because one of the things I think we have to do is stop comparing. Stop comparing Black men to white men. Stop comparing Black women to white women. Like, to just stop comparing. This one does this for me and this one doesn't. We are different. We're not monolithic. All men aren't the same. All women aren't the same. All Black women aren't the same. All Black men aren't the same. So we can't go into the dating pool saying, I only want to date this type of person because that race or that gender doesn't do X, Y, and Z. You can find somebody that's Black or a Black man that does those things that those people do. It's not to say that all Black men will not step up, take care of, nurse, or whatever the case might be. You just found 3 others who did do that, and you haven't found any that look like you that do this.
Gotcha. Thank you for that, Dr. Lene. So let's take a look at the video and we'll continue on with this conversation. If you all are just coming in, we're talking about whether Black women are giving up on Black men. You're tuned into Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. So we're going to take a look at the viral video that sparked this conversation, and we'll give more commentary.
I'm aware that I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I am so effing tired of the amount of emotional labor that comes with dating Black men. I am so tired of the lack of commitment, the lack of support, the lack of encouragement, the lack of money. Like, I don't know what to do from this point on, but I can tell you one thing. My interest in dating another Black man is like 1% at this point. They want us to be ride or dies until they get their shit together, and then they don't want to support us in return. They don't want to commit to us. They don't want to marry us, but then they want all the benefits of being a husband without actually proposing to us. I need someone who's intentional in every single aspect.
She says she needs somebody who's going to be intentional in every single aspect. Miss Athena, what's your take? You know,
Wow. I'm gonna be laughing and smiling throughout this whole thing a little bit. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. Like I said earlier, I think that especially if you only exclusively date one group, which is most Black women tend to be race loyal and only date Black men. You can, if you're having these negative experiences over and over again, it can cause you to think that this issue is only with Black men, and that is not true. Trust me, it's not true. It's similar to when people think that, or women think, okay, I can just date an older man and he's gonna be mature and he's gonna exhibit all these qualities. That's not true. You're dating people on an individual basis, and like I said, the issue with dating, if you were to look at different dating statistics, the issues that she's experiencing is not unique to Black men. It's across the board, because when it comes to the dating pool, unfortunately, most men in that pool, while they say they're looking for a relationship, a lot of dating culture is not actually dating. A lot of dating culture is hookup culture. There's a small percentage of men in that pool that are ready, willing, and able, emotionally, spiritually, financially, whatever, to enter a relationship. That is not the majority of that pool, unfortunately. So if you're dating exclusively Black men and you're having these negative experiences, which you would have had dating other races of men as well, then you'd understand that this is not just a unique thing. A lot of women today are experiencing what I call dating fatigue, which that they're frustrated because they're not having experiences with men that lead to any form of commitment. It's very casual. And you actually have to learn how to date strategically to weed out. A lot of dating is mostly weeding out who is not even interested in any kind of serious commitment with you. So whether or not you're dating Black men, Asian men, whomever, you're going to experience that as women, because men tend to prioritize attractiveness in sex versus the actual commitment part, while we kind of prioritize the commitment first, then sex is on the back burner somewhere. And what you're seeing now, as we've seen with the Bumble incident and other things, is that dating apps and revenue with regard to dating are going down because people are kind of tired of each other and kind of experiencing this fatigue.
Got you. Thank you so much, Lala. I know you are married, and the sister in the video mentioned that these days her experience has been a lot of men, or Black men, and that want all of the benefits of being a wife. I mean, of being a husband without actually being serious. Would you speak to that aspect of the conversation? Because that's not the first time I've heard that from a lot of Black women who are actually out here dating.
Well, here's my take on it. Wherever you go, there you are. So sometimes you have to take a hard look at yourself to see if you're attracting the things that you are bringing into your life. That's not to say that's always the case. However, if you're going to dating apps, which we all know pretty much the dating apps are pretty much the hookup thing. Every time you talk about it, I used to work for a guy in social media who created the dating app for Facebook. I won't say which one, but it was all about hooking up. So you didn't go there to go find a relationship. You went there to hook up. So you need to kind of look at your environment and around yourself. I do believe that there are many good Black men out there looking for partners. I know many of them as well. I have a young man in my circle who is a single father who loves his daughters and is really looking for a good partner, but he had a pretty bad experience with their mother. So he also is kind of a little afraid to bring someone into the relationship with his daughters. You have to take each situation differently because not everybody is the same. But we have to also start within us. What is it that you really want in a partner? What is it that you want to grow with together? Are you looking for a partner that can still live his life as well as you live your life, but yet you still come together on the same foundation? So it's not that they're not out there, but you got to take a hard look on where you're looking as well. If you are someone who is a churchgoer, okay, maybe you want to go to more church functions. I don't know. I know some people say that's the worst place to go, but I don't find that's the case. Mine is someone who's in the music industry because I'm a vocalist. And so therefore we gravitated for the love of music and the love of Prince. We have something very hardcore together. So look at what you really want and then know that you can kind of narrow down early on how you can get to the person that you are really looking for. I'm not saying it's easy, but you have to know that wherever you go, there you are.
Thank you for that perspective. So yes, I am compelled to bring in Kevin Samuels into the conversation. I have not been in the dating pool. However, in my opinion, he has been a strong proponent of fuckboy culture. And that's something that I vehemently advocate against. And I'm wondering if, we're seeing this uptick in conflict between Black men and Black women who are in the dating pool. Maybe it kind of stems from Kevin Samuels's toxic, malignant content and perspective as it pertains to Black women and high value men and how high value, low value men and women and rating people on a scale of 1 to 10 and all this nonsense. So, Dr. Lene, I would like to know, in your opinion, how does this sort of social media culture and these narratives on social media, the manosphere in particular, how do you think that is affecting Black love?
I think everybody doesn't need to share their opinion. I think her getting online to share her perspective about her experiences, she could have kept them to herself. I think we share too much negative information about Black men and Black women and Black love. I feel like if you have something to say and you're not adding to the conversation or making it positive, keep it to yourself. If that is your situation, Lala started it, but I wrote this down. There was a Cat Williams comedy show many years ago, and he said something to this perspective of what's wrong with your pee that's attracting these types of men. Like sometimes it's you, sis. Every Black man is not like that, and we try to make Black men monolithic. We try to say Black women are monolithic too. I'll flip the script a little bit. Black men are having the same problem that Black women are having. It's not a Black woman being tired of the Black man being, are we exhausted dating them? I have multiple single Black male friends who cannot find good, decent, dope Black woman. They're exhausted too. Where are we missing? So to your point, there's the high value, low value. I think that plays a part in it. We don't date and relate and get to know each other. We don't build friendships like we used to. We're not having fight parties and going and hanging out at the little spot where somebody can get to know you, get to talk to you for a second and be like, what, can I get your number, sis, before I leave? We don't do that no more. We don't have barbecues. We're not congregating. We're not building community. We're not introducing people. You know what, sis? I have a cousin or a brother that I think you would be great for. We don't do that anymore. There's no community in Black love. We're pit against each other. And so then when you turn to social media and you hear things like a Kevin Samuels talking about high value and low value, now you're starting to get your calculator out and decide if this person you're trying to talk to, are they high value or low value? We don't calculate ourselves. Are we high value or low value? We go out here trying to get who we think that we deserve. And I'm not saying that you don't deserve a high value person, but sometimes the onness is on us. Who am I? What am I dating for? How do I show up in a relationship? What value do I bring? And then what was it? Hypergamy? Who said hypergamy last time? I think it is where you're dating on your level. I think that makes absolutely perfectly good sense. But be honest with what level you on.
Yeah, but this raises a question also, Dr. Lene, I just want to follow up with you and I want to head over to Lala with this. Like, how are we defining high value at all? Like, for me, I mean, I saw the whole structure of rating people on this spectrum as highly problematic and very, very Eurocentric. But what is, like, how are we defining who or what is high value and low value?
So
high value is Oh, I'm sorry. High value is subjective. First of all, who are you to tell somebody they're of high value or of low value? That to me is not even right there is a problem. What you need to do is to really see what is important to you. What is the most important to you? What is something that you want in your life with a partner? Like me, I knew I wanted a man who wanted to have a relationship and wouldn't look outside of our relationship for any other love. I wanted a man who was going to be able to communicate with me on the level that we were at the time and build. Hey, honey, we had ramen noodles a many a night. We look back on that and now we laugh at that and go, hey, if we ever had to go back to ramen noodles, we'd be okay. But we were sharing that ramen noodle. You hear me? We had the struggles together. I knew that I wanted to grow with someone. I knew that I wanted someone who had the same values that I have. So it's not about who's higher and who's low. I think that's just completely disrespectful to people as a humanity to say that someone is above someone else. It is what you want in your life that is the high value. Don't label someone already out the park, because you really never know someone's heart until you really get to know them and take the time to know them. So know what you want in your life and be really okay with that. Never waver from it, because if you waver from it, that's when you start having problems. There's not to say that there's not some give and take, but don't immediately label somebody just off of what you just assume within a week or two, high or low value. I have a problem with that.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, and Dr.
Yeah,
Lene, my bad. 'Cause I said Dr. Lene, and then Lala, so I said it at the same time. So my bad.
No, it's okay. I'm glad that she did go first, because I do think that there is high value and low value. I do think that there is. Now, I do believe that as individuals, we get to determine what's high value and what's low value. But I do think that that exists, right? I think that the problem is when you walk around as a human being, a man or a woman, not understanding which one you are. Okay. A, but B, also recognizing, realizing that there's something you can do about it. Like, you don't have to be a person. And when I say low value, I'm specifically talking about the dating, from a dating perspective, not who you are as a person, not your idea, not that, just from a dating perspective. Conversation. If our conversations are not aligned, if you can't converse with me and debate with me up here, then the value that you bring in that area is not high. If cooking is something that's important to me and you don't, and that's a high thing on my list, that's a high value. So I do think that there are things that we go into from a relationship standpoint that are high in our list, that are of high value, and some things that are low. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, you can learn to be more valuable in certain areas, but it truly comes into that person. I have this saying called, I say, who gave you the wand, right? So who gave you the wand to determine who is of value and who is not of value? As a human being, I get to determine what's of value to me, but also the areas where I feel that I have low value that I can improve upon. As a society, as a civilization, as individuals, we walk around cool in our low value areas and then get mad when somebody calls it a low value area or it doesn't match their what they're looking for. And that's when the high value, low value becomes an issue, because now it appears as if we're looking down at somebody when really we're just saying, this is what I like, this is what I want, this is what I bring to the table, and this is how I want it to match. I think when you have shows or conversations like a Kevin Samuels, where you're talking demeaning to somebody and you're making their life situations be low value versus somebody high value, I think that that's where the conflict comes and it becomes a negative.
Thank you for that. I'm seeing the chat is just really, really popping off right now. When I hear the term low value and high value, I'm thinking about this Kevin Samuels these metrics like, oh, if she has a tattoo that brings down her value, or if you have if you have tattoos, if you have children, if you've been divorced or whatever, like all of these, it's like a checklist of things, and that he was using to determine what's high value and what's low value. But thank you, Dr. Lene, for that perspective, because you're talking about in terms of what's valued and valuable to the person. I see in the comments that James Baker has some really great questions here, that his perspective is, on what is determining high or low value. He says, one, what do I want? What's the vision? What action will I take? How can I get in the way? What am I going to hold myself accountable to? It's like those are questions that he, uses to rate whether something is valuable to him or valuable or not. I'm seeing comments about how Black women have, Linda says the dating pool is toxic because of single Black women. And Linda also says single motherhood has ruined our Black race. This is very interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on in the comment section. So y'all continue to engage in the comments. We like putting those up on the screen. We like hearing a variety of perspectives. And we also would like to remind you all to text the word Queens to the number 87948. That's Queens to 87948. So you'll be notified when we do go live, and you'll get the link. You'll also be informed when we have special events and special offers. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Athena. What's your perspective on this high, low value conversation? Are these social media narratives and perspectives ruining or benefiting the dating pool?
Well, as someone who is a 90s baby and is in this dating pool, I do think that the high value, low value, great value conversation has definitely ruined the dating pool. I think the Kevin Samuels ushered in this whole culture of rating people and assessing people that really isn't beneficial. Because even if you look at the standards that he was setting for men and women to abide by, one, most women, the average person is not ranking on that, if we're being honest. And then two, he didn't even fully comply with his own standard, because didn't he die on top of a woman that was like short, overweight, and all this other stuff? Like a woman that was not his standard whatsoever.
Oh, I'm not sure. I thought it was a escort.
We don't even know if she was an escort or not, but the image of her came out and she did not fit that standard that he was telling everybody to abide by. So, and that's my issue with a lot of this toxic dating, manosphere, red pill culture. A lot of these men preach things that they don't live by. And then there's this huge scandal that comes out ever so often about them doing the same thing that they said they're telling their visitors not to do. So in a lot of sense, a lot of things that you hate, you hate it because that is your option and you're frustrated that you cannot get a better option. As someone I was dating, and I have brothers, I have 4 brothers, grew up in a very masculine household, and I have male friends. I do think on the other side of that, there are good men out here who are also, I think everybody's checked out, to be honest with you. The men are checked out and the women are kind of checked out too. Now, when it comes to value is definitely a subjective thing. And I agree with Dr. Lene that there is a difference. And I think that the old ways of approaching dating and mating, there needs to be some kind of reworking of that, because like I said, I don't think a lot of people are dating. A lot of people are having fun, eating food, and having sex. They're not courting or going through a courtship process, actually vetting people of interest. And when it comes to dating, especially from the woman perspective, because me and my brothers, we've actually talked about this. The benefit a man does have is when he decides that he actually wants a committed relationship, there are a pool of women who are ready for a committed relationship, versus when you are a woman in the dating pool, a lot of the men are there not for the commitment. So your levels of assessing and filtering out is going to be a more difficult process. The man's difficult process is just actually having a woman being interested in him. And even with these dating apps, a statistic is only 1 in 10 couples met on a dating app. So if you're throwing all your eggs in a basket in an app, only 10% of people actually date and marry from the app. So I do think that we need to go back to traditional methods of actually meeting people, actually going through associations, of actually, going through meeting at the cookout and all these things. Technology has disrupted a natural process and has already made the unnatural process of dating even more difficult, in my opinion. I'm not on an app because it only took me 2 months to realize that this was just not for what my goals are. This is just not where it needs to be. And I think that, to be honest with you, people who are on the apps, and I can understand the convenience in your working schedule, but I find the people on the apps to have very low energy. The men are putting in, it's low hanging fruit, it's low effort. I do think we just need to get outside and meet each other.
Absolutely.
But I agree with Dr. Lene in the sense that we're also inaccurately assessing ourselves, as where, a lot of us think we're better than what we are. I've seen that within my own family of, I hear a lot of guy locker room conversation of them picking apart women, single mothers, all this type of stuff. And I've actually give them the reality check of where they are at on the scale. So I think that's something we need to look at as well.
Very interesting. Thank you for that, Athena. I know that there's a lot going on with online dating. I have never been on a dating app ever, and don't plan on going on there. I just don't like the idea of meeting people from the internet and bringing them into my personal life. I believe that, hey, God, and it could work that way on a dating app or online, but God will bring the right opportunities and experiences into my life at the right time. So yes. So listen, there are many statistics I'm seeing from the Pew Research Center that have been on the screen. This one says 53% of adults under 30 have used a dating app. 37% of adults 30 to 49 have used one. And the older folks get, the less, the numbers decrease in terms of the percentage. But I do know someone who is 90 years old, who shall remain nameless, and is on a dating app. So there are older folks out there as well, because people want companionship. So I'm not judging it. It's just not for me, but they're out there, and there's so many different apps for so many different things. Speaking of apps,
really quick about the dating app situation. Dating apps are not bad if you know what you are doing, right? If you are using dating apps to date and be safe while you are dating, then dating apps are cool. I was using dating apps a long time ago, probably before I moved to Arizona, so 2005, 2006. I have dudes who I am cool with to this day, right now in 2024, who I met on a dating app in 2005. One of my closest, at least 5 dudes all across the country who I'm still cool with today. Have my back. This Tiffany's necklace I got on right here from graduation comes from a dude I met online 2005. We are still cool to this day. He helped me push me towards my master's. And when I finished, I got my PhD. He sent me this for graduation because he's big on education. You can meet some good people online, but you got to know how to decipher who the good people are, and you have to be looking for friendship. Some of the problems I think that happen with the dating apps is people are looking for relationship too quick, too soon. Just because you meet somebody on a dating app, you got to use the same rigmarole, the same rules of engagement. Let's be friends. Let me see who you are. Let me see your true color. Who are you? Let's talk. You got to use the same thing. Just because you met them online, that doesn't negate having to get to know them and seeing if these are good people. You still have to go through those processes. People use dating apps in belief that it's going to rush the process, and it doesn't. And then that's when you end up with P in the dating pool.
Yeah, that's how they market it, right? eHarmony and all of those other websites is marketed yeah, you can come over here and we'll scientifically use some metrics to help you find your soulmate. Listen, I know who's not on the dating app. Her name is Vivica Fox. Vivica Fox said, hey, I'm up in age. I'm not going on no dating app, but I am taking applications because I want a new boyfriend. And they can go over here to this website and apply. So as you can see, this is Vivica right here. She says at the age of 60, she is finally looking for a husband and is taking boyfriend applications. Quote, I'm not getting on an app. He must be fun, loves to travel, not intimidated by who I am, and lets me spend money going shopping, open to all races, end quote. So, Miss Lala.
Yes.
Miss Vivica said she is taking boyfriend applications. Is this a great strategy?
No, no, because you know what? You're going to get all kinds, and you're not, once again, you're not going back to the basics. Listen, we all here have said we have, just within the four of us, we all have said we have friends looking for love. It used to be where people like us, the ones who knew that, would be like, hey, George would be great for Athena. I would love to be able to see those two get together and see if they would make it work. You know, there's nothing wrong with being able to talk to people in your own circles who know you and also know someone else. Like my niece is great at that. We call her the matchmaker. When she knows that two people are going to, she's like, oh, they'll click. And every last time they end up being great couples. We have to look at our own communities. Now, Vivica can do whatever Vivica wants to do. To me, taking applications, it sounds more like a job to me than wanting to be something serious. People see that as a joke. And if she's really serious, then why don't you get down and dirty with it? Let's start really looking at your circles. I don't need a website to put in an application to be your girlfriend or your wife or your friend, and for that matter. Let's get back to the basics of going within your circles and talking to the people within your circles, because 9 times out of 10, they may have someone that fits you perfectly. And I'm still for that. I just came from that community. You know, that's my community of growing up. Susan would go good with George or blah, blah, blah. And usually when you have those people, when you know their heart and you don't want to see either one of them hurt, you do tend to present the right people to the right time. Does it always work? No, but you try. And most people that I have put together have either gotten married or still together or just decided, no, we just don't fit. And that's okay too.
Thank you for that. Listen, Dr. Lene, Vivica's taking applications for a boyfriend. It doesn't seem like the requirements are set very, very high. I could imagine Prison Bay or Jail Bay. Y'all remember Prison Bay we talked about the other week? I could imagine him applying for that, applying for that job to be her boyfriend. So my question to you, Dr. Lene, is do you think the application process is rigorous enough for Miss Fox? And what sorts of things should we be looking for when we're looking for boyfriends or putting out these applications? Oh, you're muted, Dr. Lene. But you are a great strategist. So I definitely need to know the requirements.
I was saying I can either confirm or deny because I have not seen the application. So I'm glad you went into the second piece of it, which is what should be on it. Because I think, is it going to be rigorous? Without having seen it, I don't know. But just from what I know of Vivica and her personality and what she's looking for, I would expect that there's going to be some things on there that would make it a little bit rigorous. But if it were me, right, and I was putting out an application, the things that I'm looking for, right, and I'm gonna be honest, so if y'all want to come for me in the comments, you can, but I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. This would be on my application. How tall are you? Because that's important to me, right? I'm 5'9", I'm about 2+, and so how tall you are, it plays a factor. I wear heels, and so I'm about a good 6 feet in my heels, and I don't want to be the tall one. I'm looking at your teeth. And now these are not in order. I'm just giving them to you as they're coming to my brain, right? Do you love the Lord? Can you pray over me? That's an important one. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you have any children? What's your relationship like with their mothers? That's going to be important to me. How do you get along with your exes? What's your relationship like with your mother? What's your relationship like with your children? What do you enjoy to do? Do you like to travel? I have a PhD. Are you okay with that? You good? Like those are the types of things that would be on it for me, because those are like some of the things that I run up against. I'm not how much money you make, because the type of man that you are will tell me. That's for the 5 to 10 years question, right? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? That answer will tell me about the other things I need to know. If you're talking about, you know, upgrading to a Honda Accord, I already know what's going on. You know, I know. But if you're talking about, you know, I see myself in a 10,000 square foot home. Okay, cool. Let's talk about some things. How can we do this? So I think you can ask certain questions to kind of figure out who a person is, man or a woman. That as a woman, this is what I'd be asking. But I think men, you got to ask these women some of these questions too, right? Because you got to ask her, what is her relationship like with her son's father, or her daughter's father? It's not the We put a lot of emphasis on what women should be asking men, but men should be asking women some of these same questions, because we are not above acting a plumb fool, showing up crazy in relationships. Both parties should be asking questions, interviewing, seeing what too many of Black men have had babies with crazy women, the same way that we as beautiful Black women have had children with crazy men. We don't take enough time. I'm gonna raise my hand. I was about to, thank you, Lord. I was about to convict myself. We don't take enough time to get to know the person that we're getting into a relationship with. And I'm raising my hand because I met my son's father in August and I was pregnant in October. That was the conviction as I was getting ready to say it. We don't take, luckily for me, it's a blessed situation. Me and my son's father are cool. That's my homeboy, is my best friend. We still talk today for 2 and 3 hours. My son will be 24 next month. We cool, we get along. We co-parented amazing. I picked a great one. But I have had relationships where we sped past the friendship and the relationship was raggedy. Had we put more time in getting to know each other, asking those questions, having not an interview, but asking the right questions, things would, I think, have gotten better. So hopefully she does have a rigorous process where she's asking those questions. At 60, I think she better knows who she is, what she wants, and can communicate.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you. That is a great list. It seems very well rounded, Dr. Lene. There was a lot on there. I do want to see Ms. Vivica's application. So let's talk about money, because you brought up a lot of points about money, Dr. Lene. Athena, do you check credit scores? Are you like, is there a prerequisite for bank accounts, trust funds, and those types of things? And what types of things should women be looking for? What are good indicators about like wealth? Like, is this somebody I can get with to make my money grow or build generational wealth? What do you think? You're muted.
Sorry, we need to get better with that. So Vivica did say she needed a man that will allow her to shop, honey. So knowing her and her being a celebrity, I do think that will be financial aspects of relationships will be a consideration. I actually think Vivica should have worked with if I was in her status, I would work with like an actual matchmaker versus like trying to just put this out there, because it kind of makes her look a little bit desperate. And I know she hasn't been able to recover in her love life since 50 Cent. So I know that's been a hard bar to top. As a CPA, and I do discuss this with women, the financial aspects of relationship when it comes to their money. And it is important to consider a man's financial, not only his financial background and how much money he does have, but his habits around and his mindset and his thinking around money and how that applies to you and your relationship, and also your goals in creating wealth. Because I also teach this in my course, the 3 ways women historically and currently still acquire wealth is either through family inheritance, marriage, or on their own career or business. So those are the 3 ways. So if you weren't born into money by a rich family, or if you have not married wealthy, and within the Black community, the chances of doing that is very low, then, your ways and pathway to wealth is going to be you creating wealth on your own and hopefully your partner. I do think that hypergamy is a necessity at this point, because not only from the financial aspect, so dating at your level, financially or above, but also when you do date men who make less than you, there's other negative aspects that tend to happen in the relationship, because how he feels about it is not going to be positive, and that's going to be something that's playing out in the background of your relationship. I've experienced that, and I've also seen that every professional woman I know who make more than their partner have certain issues that they face that negatively impact their relationship, because they have to do this extra work and massaging of their partner's ego to make them feel comfortable around their lifestyle or the life that they have together, because she is a breadwinner. So if you want to just cut that off completely, cut that issue out completely, that's my recommendation. And I do think that from the standpoint of men, they do feel better when they're able to do for you. I think a man does want to add value to a woman and to your life, and they start to question that when you don't.
Thank you for that. And I know Dr. Lene said one of her questions is, hey, I have a PhD. You cool with that? Right? Because that can kind of be a thing. Dr. Lene, I kind of wanted to circle back to you. Oh, and then Lala as well. I see that the chat is pretty interesting. I'm not sure what's going on in there, but
listen, the chat is very interesting. I want to speak to. I've been reading all these different comments from Linda Anderson. Producer, can you put up the one at 1042? Dear Black men, look elsewhere. Other races of women are better. This generation of Black women were raised to be concubines, not wives. This is very disheartening to hear from a Black woman. If this is literally a Black woman's account, I'm praying that this is a troll and that this is not a legit Black woman feeding this narrative and these lies, because this is inaccurate. I don't know of a single Black woman that wants to be a concubine or was raised to be a concubine. I don't know of a single Black woman that does not want to be a wife. Society, real life relationships, I'm not even going to say social media, but I could say the government, I could say the system, I could say those things have pitted Black men and Black women against each other. And then we, as a community, have perpetuated it. Men and women, homes without fathers, relationships that do not last, communication that's not happening, women not saying what they want, men not saying what they want, people going along to get along, doing something because the other person wants to do, but you really don't. Like, there are issues innately in relationship, not just Black ones, but in relationship. And I will say, Black men, do not give up on Black women. Do not turn elsewhere. Do not go elsewhere. Black women, do not give up on Black men. Do not go elsewhere. Do not turn your back on what belongs to you, what is yours. Now, if you're a person who believes that you can date anybody and you don't see color, by all means, do what floats your boat, boo. But I would like to ask Black people not to be out here making it worse, spreading harm, sharing lies, being untruthful, tearing down. You're a part of the problem. If you can't add to the narrative or the conversation with solutions in a positive manner, then don't add anything. Just don't say anything. We have too many people on social media, keyboard gangsters, talking trash and not adding to a positive, productive, uplifting narrative or solution. That's all I have to say about
Well, Dr. Lene, she said what she had to say. Lala, do we need to read anybody else in the chat? What's going on over here? I mean, this conversation.
I do have someone that is very interesting, because we're women. So a lot of people come in here and they say, things like, well, they don't know the man's perspective. Well, no, we don't always know the man's perspective, because we're coming at it at a perspective of women. And it doesn't mean that we don't have male friends or we don't acknowledge the male energy in our lives. He said, not one man on the panel, but the discussion centers on men's perspectives. Well, you probably didn't join us from the beginning, so you should probably go back and watch the replay. We were discussing how a young lady is having issues finding a Black man for her. And this is what the whole topic is about. And no one on this panel has put down any Black man or said that it's not worth your time to find that partner. What we're coming at is a place of how do you find this when you are looking? And it seems that we all know someone who's looking on both sides of the fence, but somehow they're not connecting. So what is it that we are doing as a society, as friends, as our point of view to get people over this hump of this debunked narrative that Black men, good Black men are not out there, and good Black women are not out there, because that is false, and that's what they want you to believe. But we know differently, and I'm pretty sure that you know differently in your life too. So what is it that we can do as a society to stop this madness of these lies and really start putting together people who want to be in love? Isn't that what it's about? I mean, that's just what I was taught. I mean, I grew up, all my aunties and uncles lived until they were 80, 90, and they were still together. I had good foundation of seeing what a good relationship was. So I also want that for myself, and I also want that for others, because there's nothing like it. Nothing like it. So it's not about who's on the panel and who's not on the panel. We are talking about how we can overcome this myth to get more love into the world. Simple as that. Then you're diving into the narrative. There's no men on the panel. No, but we do have an interesting perspective as well.
Absolutely. And this is the perfect time to go to commercial. You are tuned into Fly Nubian Queen TV, and this is our weekday Fly Nubian Money panel. And we're here weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Fly Nubian Queen TV's YouTube channel. So be sure to text the word Queens, Queens, right? As in women, as in Black women. Text the word Queens to the number 87948. That way you'll be notified when we do go live and we have cool things going on. And we welcome brothers to come over and share their ideas and be in community with us. But this is a network that definitely centers the perspectives and narratives of Black women. So you're at Fly Nubian Queen TV's YouTube channel. And also you can go over to our website and check out flynubianmoney.com, because we have many programs over there. We talk about how to get your money straight. So y'all tried it though, but it's all good. So with that being said, I don't even know. Let's talk about therapy, because I think that we can't leave this conversation. We talked about finances and mindset, but the importance of mental health support and getting therapy for both Black women and Black men. I want to sort of get your perspectives on that, whether this could be a viable vehicle to sort of bridge the gap and deal with the trauma that is experienced in many within the community. Let's hear from Athena.
Okay, I almost bust out my tambourine, because from my experience, I do think from both sides now that therapy is a must. And I don't think that a lot of us use that as a way of introspection and to really get to the root of some of our dysfunctional behavior and lack of dating success. I have met men who have done therapy or said that they have, and I really question the quality of their therapy. And I have met women who have done therapy and dating school and wife school and all these other things. I do think that what is plaguing part of us not coming together is that we do have a lot of trauma as a community. I cannot tell you how many men I've been on dates or I've known who have said or told me things that have been very traumatic experiences that do show up negatively in their dating life, and quite frankly prevented me from even continuing dating them, because not because of the trauma itself, but your response to it and how that would negatively and how it did negatively impact any kind of communication and relationship. So I think that especially because of slavery and all the other factors of oppression that we face as a group, I do think that therapy is a must at this point for success.
Thank you so much, Lala.
Well, here's what I think. And, I may sound like I've been thrown back into the 40s and 50s. We all have to understand that we have our own issues. And no matter whether it's something that we've seen in our household or something that we have seen around us, maybe you didn't come from the same type of community that I came from. Maybe you came from an area where you didn't see a lot of marriages last a very long time. That does not mean what you saw put around you is your reality. Okay. What people think and what people do around you is not your reality. So you can always improve upon yourself. You always can reflect upon yourself. You always can take the time to grow and go outside to the therapy world to see where it is that you may be lacking that you can improve upon. I know many years ago, there's still a few out there. I've seen some on social media where they used to have these beautiful etiquette classes where girls would go and do their thing and the boys would go and do their thing, and they were taught how to be gentlemen and the girls were taught how to be gracious, and then they would have these beautiful balls and they would be able to come together and practice those skills. I think that we are lacking in that today, and I would love to see that come back. It doesn't mean that it's old fashioned, but it does open up a different mindset to how do you start becoming the person that you want to attract into your life. So is therapy a good thing? I say so. I've been to therapy many times to improve upon myself where I know that I've had roadblocks. And not only does it enhance me, but it enhances my relationship with my husband, because now I am a better person so that I can be a better person for him too. So I think that therapy is a good thing all the time in anything that you want to improve upon, because you can be your own roadblock. So get that roadblock out of the way.
Thank you for that, Dr. Lene. What are your perspectives on therapy?
Yeah, I don't disagree with therapy. I don't disagree with it at all, because therapy does it. What therapy has done for me is it has allowed me to say the things that I've been walking around with that I haven't said, to look at the things that I didn't look at, to just release some stuff that you're carrying around. But before I had therapy, I did self-reflection. I looked at the relationships that I had been in, the outcomes of those relationships. And what I found was I had put myself in the exact same situations 2 times in a row. If I closed my eyes, I had dated the same person, the exact same outcome, the exact same situation. I was like, these are 2 different people, X amount of years apart. How did I end up in the same situation? What is the common thread? And it was me. I was the common thread, who I was and how I showed up. So I had to start doing some serious soul searching, self-reflecting, getting to some of my ugly ways, how I act, my traumas, what I say, what I don't say, how I show up, why I stayed. It was very hard. And it can be embarrassing. It could be hurtful. But it wasn't until I took myself through those things that I was able to mature in relationship to be a better partner. It even helped me with my therapy, because now I can speak about myself in a way that's like, this is how I show up. This is what I do. Now my therapist can be like, well, why is that? Well, let's dissect that. That's what I'm here for. Why do I do that? But if you don't even take that first look at you, because it's always somebody else, he did me wrong, she did me wrong, you know what you're doing, because you'll say, how do I find myself in this situation again? If you've ever said that to yourself, unpack that. How did you find yourself in this situation again? Because you'll start to see things in the people that you date. You'll start to see things in the things that you don't say. You'll start to see things in the things that you settle for. You'll start to see things in the type of person that you go after. But it's hard to take that self look, because you have to really be honest. And now you got to deal with some things that you didn't want to deal with. My mom used to say to me, you have issues. And I'd be like, I know, I'm just not ready to deal with them. Because I did. I knew I had issues. I just don't want to deal with them. I got who want to deal with their issues? Like, I don't want to look at myself. I'm a mess. But it wasn't until I really started looking at myself that relationships got better, life got better, my business got better, how I communicate got better, the opportunities that were coming at me got better, all from just taking a moment to look at me. That's what I would say. So if you can do therapy, by all means do therapy, but you still got to take the time to look at yourself.
Absolutely. That's a whole word, Dr. Lene. And thank you. And thank you to everybody in the chat. I see Linda keeps popping up. Linda, I'm going to pray for you. I really believe your name is Linda. I think you're a dude. You might be maybe a disgruntled manosphere, Kevin Samuels called follower, but it's okay. You are still loved. You are still loved by these Black women over here. Either way. We are going to go around and have final words. We talked about many, many perspectives in this conversation. Are Black women giving up on Black men? And let's go to Lala. Final words, final thoughts, and where can we find you?
Love is a beautiful thing, but you have to love yourself first. Really get to know who you are, what it is that you want, so that you can start beaming out those love beams and someone can answer that call. No, it's not always that easy, but if you don't have self-love for yourself, you can attract the love that you desire. And you can find me very easily, I made it easy, at bit.ly/Laura Key Info.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Athena?
My final thoughts would be this, that are Black women giving up on Black men? I would say not all of us, but I do think there's some fatigue. And I do think that we need to get rid of the viewpoint that non-Black men are better. The issue is men across the board. If you are a woman who is interested in growing your wealth and to create your wealthy goddess life, you can find me at wewealthwomen.com. I am Athena. I am a CPA and women's wealth coach.
Excellent. Thank you. Dr. Lene?
Hey, so I will leave with, I am a Black woman. I birthed a young Black man. A Black man gave life to me in my mother's womb. I will never give up on the Black man. I love Black men. I love Black women. I love Black people. And we have to keep love at the forefront for how we talk to each other, how we deal with each other, how we guide each other, how we relate to each other. Across the board, whether you date outside of your race or not, be one, always, every day. I am Dr. Lene Javette. I am a monetization strategist, a business coach, and I help people to create strategies that bring them money, but more importantly, give them success. And you can find me on social media at I am Dr. Lene Javette. Thank you so much for having me today.
Excellent. Thank you. And I'm your host. I'm Jade Harrell. Really grateful to have been able to lead this conversation. I am a race loyalist. I think that word came up. I'm also a familyist. I have a t-shirt that says familyist, not feminist. And so my dedication and loyalty will always be with the Black man. I believe in Black families and Black love. And I learned how to be a good Black woman from the Black women and the Black men in my family. My grandparents, my parents, everybody was married. And so, you know, I was very blessed in that sense. And so I would say just hold the vision and also know that there's nobody in the room but yourself and God. And so when we see people and things, we're attracting certain people and energies into our life, then that's an opportunity for us to check in with, okay, how am I showing up and what is coming up within me that's being reflected on the outside and these people that I'm dating. You all can find me at highblackesteem.com. I do coaching around activists, movers, and shakers in the Black community that want to expand their impact and do service-related projects in the Black community. And so go over to highblackesteem.com and we really get into that. And I also want to do a shameless plug and testimonial. I came up with this brand and I got all of the workings of the brand while I was working with Dr. Lene in one of her courses. So I highly recommend that you go over and check out everything that Dr. Lene has. She will get you straight. She will be a great demonstration of what Black excellence is and take your brand to the next level. I know that for a fact. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to come over here at flynubianqueentv.com. You will see all Black women on these panels. Okay, it's okay, brothers. You are welcome. You don't have to feel away about it, but if you want to hear the perspectives of Black women that are very, very diverse, come over to flynubianqueen.com. These are our Fly Nubian Money panels. We're here weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and we always have dope topics. Be willing to hit the like button, subscribe button, and share these conversations with folks. And also text the word Queens with an S to the number 87948. That's 87948. And you'll be notified when we do go live and when we have free offers and stuff. From the bottom of my heart, I want to say, keep Black love alive. And thank you, ladies, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in and tapping in with us. We are so grateful.